Welcome back to part 2 of the Power of Pivots on Combat Consulting. If you didn't catch part 1, check it out here. It's got a lot of the terms, background, and theory that I reference in parts 2, 3, and 4, so let's get into it. This video is going to cover variations on lead pivots versus same-handed opponents. Here, Floyd's getting banged up on the ropes, but he keeps his cool, uses the Philly shell, and escapes with the lead pivot. Look at the T-angle this pivot creates. One of the benefits of getting a teed-up angle is it not only sets you up to land, but it forces your opponent to reposition, thus halting their attack. A lead pivot is also great after a lead slip or a lead hand counter. Yellow headgear, lead slips the 2, fires a counter 5. Watch how his lead pivot after takes him out of range of the opponent's incoming 3. The lead sidestep pivot helps you get further outside. First, step your lead foot laterally, twisting your hips and core, and swing your rear leg as a counterweight. Keep your guard up and keep your chin tucked behind your lead shoulder as you pivot to protect yourself against the overhand. This is a great way to avoid opposing 2s and 6s, get off the ropes, and generally create a good angle. Canelo often rolls his head to stay safe when lead sidestep pivoting, but this is for advanced boxers. The lead sidestep pivot is also a great way to set up for a check hook, but more on that later. A lead slip also pairs well with the lead pivot. Use the momentum transfer from the lead slip to help you rotate even faster. I also like to lead slip pivot immediately after throwing a 3 to anticipate a counter, making sure to keep my lead hand in high guard while I do. A 3 simultaneous with the lead pivot can also create a T-angle. The 3 gives you rotational velocity. You're vulnerable to the overhand doing this though, so make sure you don't get caught. Pairing pivots with jabs can give you a slight footwork advantage. Shakur's LOA starts head-on, but he lead pivots as he lands on his front foot, improving his LOA as he searches for an opening. Again, Shakur lead pivots as he lands on his front foot, so the jab lands, but he also escapes Herring's jab. You can use multiple jabs to circle while you look for an opening. I like to work this into shadowboxing and drills. A common mistake is lead pivoting with your guard down, like in these examples. The lead pivot can be countered a few different ways. One method of nullifying the power of the lead pivot is with stance switching. Here, Jacobs throws a 2-3 at Pirog, lead pivoting out as he throws the 3. But Pirog pulls/rolls the 2, lead slips the 3, switches to southpaw and fires a 2 that caught Jacobs flush because Jacobs didn't add a step back to his pivot or keep his guard up as he pivoted. Watch the stance switch. Pirog starts in orthodox, but as Jacobs circles out, Pirog actually switches stances, and when Pirog fires his 2, he's actually in a southpaw stance. In this famous example, Loma lead weaves under Dillashaw's overhand, but Dillashaw, who started southpaw, switches to orthodox rather than taking the extra time to get back in his stance, and used that extra time to fire a right cross that catches Loma square. Loma had actually switched to orthodox after his lead weave. He tries to take the time to switch back to southpaw with a crow hop switch. You can actually see the attempted switch here. And Loma, who had his hands down, gets caught. So the point is, stance switching is one of the ways that you can beat the quick angles. You can also add a step back to the lead pivot to avoid incoming punches, or lead weave as you pivot to avoid the danger of the overhand. A lead weave pairs really nicely with a lead pivot because it preserves momentum and prepares rotational velocity. Pivoting away under pressure is good because you can't bob and weave forever. Here, he successfully weaves the 4 but stays in the same spot instead of pivoting out and gets destroyed by a 3. A common jab counter is rear slip 2 or rear slip overhand. But you can provide a counter to the counter if you follow your jab with lead weave, lead pivot. If the opponent overextends with their rear hand, you can get them teed up. If Taylor had lead pivoted with his lead weave here, he would have had a KO set up, but he didn't pivot sharply and then lost the T angle. I also like to add a backward step or shuffle after the lead weave pivot. It helps you avoid the 3 that usually follows after you lead weave under somebody's rear hand. If your opponent slips inside a jab, a common response is to rear block and twist to the lead side. But another option is to frame with your lead hand while you lead pivot outside. If they dip under your 2, you can frame with your rear hand while you lead pivot, but be wary of sneaky overhands. Slip shuffle pivot is a great tool for quickly getting a sharp angle. It's like a lead slip pivot, but with the lead slip shuffle pivot, you use the potential energy coiled in your leg from the lead slip to actually rotate with a pop, and both your feet come off the ground at the same time as you rotate. So that's why I think it's a distinct movement. A lead pivot also prepares a check hook. You can sidestep pivot to prepare the check hook, or just slip step pivot. If you can time an opponent to catch them just as they throw, you can clip them with a 3, that's the check hook, while you lead pivot to safety. My dudes, like and subscribe for more videos. You have no idea how much something so small helps the channel out. Stay up, always.